Hi, everybody. It's Lisa Lubin with LL World Tour. I'm excited today. We have Jessica Watson. Jessica is a lot of things. I'm really excited to have her here. First of all, she's the CEO and creative director of her own company, J. Watson Creative. She founded and runs Be More Creatives. Is that right? It's a Baltimore group, a support group for women, creative women, networking support. And Jessica and I met in Chicago when she was doing a sort of round the country year with Airbnb. Hi, Jessica.
Hey,
Thanks for
thank you
coming
for the
on.
awesome introduction.
I'm glad you're here. I'm excited to talk to you and have people get to know you and see what you're up to and all the cool stuff you're doing. Oh, and one thing I don't want to forget, which is so cool. Last year in 2013 in Baltimore Magazine, Jessica was top 40 under 40. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah,
That's awesome. That's really, really cool.
it was very cool. I think I did the interview when I was in Portland, actually. It's kind of odd to be getting a lot of news and feedback in Baltimore, but to not physically be in Baltimore at the time that it was happening.
Yeah, so you're like a local celebrity.
Yes, that's a good way to say it. That's awesome.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So first of all, um, let's talk about what you did last year. You decided to leave Baltimore, which you love, and go around the country and check out some new cities and sort of embed yourself in these cities. So how did that idea come about?
When I look back on what you're sold in terms of the lifestyle of an entrepreneur, you always see these pictures of somebody on top of a mountain with their arms outreach, and it looks so glorious and adventurous. And I was, maybe 2.5 years into my business, and I was chained to my laptop, and I just felt like I had been sold a lie, for lack of a better way to say it. I was like, where's my adventurous, amazing life that's supposed to come with this deal? So I started thinking, is it possible to work remotely? I mean, could I do that? And I think I was looking at it as a way to be able to afford travel while still keeping my income going so that I wasn't at any point going to be strapped. So I knew that my business, it can be run through a computer. I didn't necessarily need the office I had at the time or some of the other things that were weighing me down. So I thought, okay, I'll pack up my car, I'll downsize, and I'll hit the road, and let's see what we can do. But the trick, or I guess the thing that made it fun for me, is all these little rules I invented to make it unique and different and an amazing experience. So it's like you can't travel and be like, oh, okay, I'm just going to go do the touristy things, or I think I'll just stay in this week. It's just like that kind of takes away from the experience. So for me, it was important to, like you said, embed myself and really kind of become a local without necessarily being local, which is exactly why Airbnb was an amazing opportunity to kind of segue into making that happen. But the rule was to rent sublet a studio or one bedroom in a neighborhood, in a community, and try to, just be a neighbor and see what it was like to be there. And so that was more of a draw for me than to hotel it for a month, and be in the touristy parts of town. I really just wanted to get a good grasp for the local scene.
So I love it. I love it. I'm sure there's got to be so many stories and everything, so we have to just, of course, pick out a few. So what were tell us about some moments, like some of your great moments. And the cool thing is you just ran through it really fast, but obviously it was a month in each place. For some that might seem long, I actually can tell that's probably short. Like you just get to know people, you get locals, especially the places you really felt a connection to, and then it's time to go. But it's also a great taste of even thinking, okay, I'm going to come here for 6 months next year, or especially like I said, now you've learned to become really mobile and you are sort of that guy on the mountaintop.
I think that with respect to being somewhere for a month, it's interesting because on some days it's too long and you're like, all right, I'm ready. But then on other days it's incredibly short. And definitely, I think I defied some type of laws of time because when you think about friendship and the bonds and connections that you make, most people associate that with oh, like the people I grew up with, or these are the people I went to college with, so that's why we've been friends forever. And I can say wholeheartedly that I've made some amazing friends that we still text, and I have to remember what time zone they're in. But it's just like it's that bond from that experience. You can have a really close friend and only have met a couple times, and you can go back to that place and literally pick back up right where you left off and not miss a beat. And that's something I don't think I knew that really existed. So it's just beautiful to see. I think the ripple effect of all the connections that was made through the traveling, for sure.
I think that I totally know how that is as a traveler myself, and totally relate as the one of the or the best thing from traveling of any kind, however you label it, what you did, however, even if you don't call it traveling, whatever it is, putting yourself out there, out of your comfort zone, out of your space, and meeting new people. It is amazing, like how you bond, because you're bonding on a new level. You're bonding with already a foundation of this sort of openness to the world and doing new things and meeting new people. And also when I traveled around the world, same thing, like wherever I was, meeting new people, and we connected right away. So then we kind of jumped up past we already had a foundation of similar interests, and it's amazing. Well, let's talk about some sort of nitty gritty, hopefully, inspiring other people to maybe do something like this, or even, I mean, you and I travel all the time, and you inspired me to, you just sort of think differently out of the box. Like I left and was gone for years, but now I'm sort of back and I travel, but it was like, hey, why don't I just go, I lived in Berlin last year for a month, but why did I not think I could also just live in Seattle for a month right here? Like something about leaving the U.S. or not leaving the U.S. is a different box to think in. So I also was considering I can do that and occasionally live in some other city for a month now. I mean, anyone can do it if you can work from your laptop. What are some of the logistics of how you met people? How did you just, a lot of people don't know, they get somewhere and they don't know anyone. And then what do you do?
Right. That's a good question. That's actually one of my main motivations for stepping out there. Because there'd be that night where you'd be like, I really don't have anything planned to do. And I mean, wine and Netflix is always awesome, but you're like, I can't do that. Like I feel like, you're paying to be here, go out and find that moment. And so I think that's it in a nutshell. It's just that things won't come to you if you're not open and in a place where they can like flow through your life. So you can't just like sit in your house, even if you have no plans, like just go sit in a cafe then. So when I got to a new city, the first thing I would do is just start looking to see like what kinds of events were happening. And I would use sites like meetup.com. Couchsurfing is a great site. Most people associate it just with being able to sleep on somebody's couch, but actually there are a lot of people who are more than happy to show you around their city, take you out for the afternoon, take you to a park, whatever it is you want to do. And so I would just, literally post like, hey, I'm new. I don't have any plans today or this weekend. Is there anybody who can like show me around? This is what I like to do. It's also a great place to meet other travelers who are also experiencing the city with you for the first time. So they're generally always down to do something because they're like, I'm here and I'm new and I'm game for anything. So those are my go-tos if I couldn't find like anything within the mainstreams. Outside of that, there's volunteer work that you can do. And there's different activity boards where you can like look and see what's going on. And that allowed me to just connect with people. It's like multi-generational. And you're just, pulling up weeds or planting trees or I cleaned up a lot of different areas. And it was it's cool to be able to do that with strangers and bond in that way and then keep those connections going. So in a nutshell, like that was essentially what I did, but I just kept my eyes open and people were also very willing to connect me with people that they knew in particular cities. And I followed up on that all the time. One of the things probably that I started doing that I appreciate a lot. It might drive some people crazy, but when somebody says to me, "Oh, hey, we should get together sometime," I'm like, "Next Tuesday at 7?" Like, I don't have some time. I have like 4 weeks. So it's like you're either serious and you're like, "Yes, we're going to get together," and awesome, or that was like one of those comments you just make, which is fine as well. But it's like I'm very on it because I'm just like, I don't have forever, and that's just it. None of us really do. So it's saying yes to opportunities. I said yes to a lot of things that I would have definitely thought twice about probably if I was sitting in my apartment here in Baltimore. And you think about that, you get invited out a lot, and you're like, no, I'm just gonna stay at home. Something on TV I'll watch, and I'm like, no, I'm going out. So in coming back to my own city, I gained a new appreciation for that, and I'm just more open to kind of just be down for whatever and see where the moment takes me versus having everything so planned out.
Awesome. I love it. I love it so much. I mean, it's very cool, and it's why we connected too, because I do the same things when I was traveling, and that's exactly how we met. We were like, oh, we can't host, but I was like, oh, I'd love to meet you, and you're like, let's do lunch, and I was like, yes, and we're like people of yes, and
Yes.
which I love.
And I think one of the unifying things that go across like all the cities is just you start meeting some amazing, really kind, generous, just good-hearted people that exist everywhere. I suppose if I have to name cities, because I know that's what everybody wants.
Do it.
Right, like I would definitely say the Pacific Northwest was amazing. Some of the best hiking that I did, and just being out in nature, and some of the best food as well, was between Portland and Seattle. From a holistic standpoint, I would say Boulder, Colorado was also an amazing city. Just Colorado in and of itself is just beautiful to drive through. It was jaw-droppingly beautiful, where you have all these moments. If I had pulled over to take a picture, I would have never made it to, I would have just been out in the road somewhere, this is so great. But so that, it was incredibly picturesque. But I can say nice things about all the cities incredibly freely. So it's really tough to pick.
So what's next for you?
That's a very good question. I'm at the point where I have seen the light of how to make my business operate in a way where I can do it from anywhere. And so I really want to hone in and establish that strong foundation so that I can do more of the travel. I don't think that we should have to choose, successful in business or travel, rent or travel. I feel like there has to be a good balancing, and sometimes balancing is crazy chaos, but it still balances in some way. So there has to be some way to make that work. And I'm committed to figuring that out. Also, I would like to travel and not necessarily work for a couple weeks, or not feel like, oh man, I gotta be on my computer for 4 or 5 hours today. I can't go walking around and exploring. Adventure-wise, outside of the domestic travel, I'm planning a trip over to France in the fall, actually, September, October-ish. And I have a couple friends who want to join for a portion of it. And it's interesting, though, because we have different definitions of travel. And I'm like, I hope you like the local scene, because that's going to be where I am. And it's going to be amazing. So.
Oh, they will. They will.
Yeah.
How can you not? Once you meet people, I've never met anyone that was like, damn, I wish I met less people and I just stared at the Eiffel Tower by myself,
Right. I'll definitely look at it, but then I'm like, all right, now where's the local thing happening tonight, or the art gallery opening, or the cafe where something's going down? I feel like that's where life is unfolding. And just as a human being, I'm always curious, how are you living? We're all in this experience together. We're all on this journey together, even though, sometimes we feel separated. We really are together. And it's just cool to see what's happening in other parts of the country, and, again, in other parts of the world as well.
Awesome. Very cool. And of course, I have a couple friends that I will connect you with
Yes.
in France that you'll really like. So very, very cool. So where can people find you? I know you blogged about your travels too, and of course your design site. Where can people find you?
My website is jwatsoncreative.com. And there's links throughout there for a lot of the travel, the covering of the travel that I did.
Awesome. And really quick, if someone actually not only is inspired to sort of try to do what you're doing, but also needs a designer, what kind of stuff do you do?
Oh, that's a very good question. So we have a small savvy design studio. We particularly work on branding and website design development. We also do some very strategic experiential marketing campaigns to kind of give our clients the creative edge over their competition.
That sounds cool. I might have to use you one day. I like
Sounds
it.
good.
Your stuff is so cool looking anyway. So thank you so much. I'm so excited. I'm happy to see you again, too. It's been a while since you came through Chicago, and hopefully we'll definitely connect in June. Thanks for being part of our show, and thank you all for watching. You can see more at llworldtour.com. Bye. Woo, woo.